Police arrest a man found naked on a hood of a moving car. Sunday night, this man, Matthew Miller from Robinson, Illinois, jumped naked onto the hood of a stranger's car. The driver described Miller to police as acting out of his mind, holding onto the hood of the car for 4 miles. The driver called 911 and headed into downtown Robinson, where police arrested Miller. Police quickly realized he was under the influence.
Basically, he said people were after him. He was hallucinating badly. And when we found his personal items out in the county, that's when we found the evidence that he was under the influence of bath salts. We found empty bath salt vials.
Police told News 10 that Miller believed he was running from people who were trying to eat him.
I had Murphy outside using the bathroom, and I was walking back in the house and I seen something up above the house. It was this long strip of blue dots horizontally going over the house. It scared the shit out of me. I had no idea what it was. And I Googled it after I got back in the house, and it said that it was Elon Musk's Starlink. And that was like the craziest. I told Danielle when I got upstairs, I'm like, I just seen the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And she's like, she's freaking out because it was like 11 o'clock or something. But it was so crazy because it went by so fast, but I ran into the middle of the yard and it just disappeared over the tree line. I was expecting me to just slowly lose it, but it was almost as it got to the tree line, it just fizzled out. But
typical Midwestern.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Would you just look at it? But whenever I told her, she's like, they say UFOs are real. And I'm like, I know. I was the one that told you that.
They're not called UFOs anymore, though. Oh, well, stuff. I can't remember the name of them, but they're not UFOs.
Like UAP or
UAP,
unidentified aerial
phenomena.
Or something.
Yeah.
I didn't find all that.
Mm-hmm. Just heard that on Joe.
I mean, they've been real for I don't know, but now that the government is,
Yeah, I think
These
now that we live in a
real.
more technological society, they're like, we got to say something because
everybody actually knows already.
yeah.
COVID didn't work.
Big news.
Fox didn't work.
Yeah.
Release the fucking aliens.
Yeah.
We got to get something out of these guys.
COVID didn't
We're
work.
starting to question what we're doing. But
That is wild.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I know it was impossible then, but being in the 80s and
Seen something like that?
yeah, I would show you got the cornfields swaying back and forth. It's like signs, all reimagined.
Well, it's like the whole.
Boo!
I mean, that's some Scooby-Doo shit.
Well, it's like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
When they were broadcasting that over the radios, just telling the story, and people were killing themselves because they
thought it
thought
was real.
aliens were coming and attacking the airfield.
That's a sad. I mean,
I don't remember what year that was.
I think it was around World War II era, but I could be wrong.
We'll have to phone a friend on this one.
Yeah. Well, you guys made some changes too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sacrifices here.
Yeah. I was going to clean my beard up, but we didn't have time. But
It looks like you got a little trim.
I was going to shave all of mine off,
It,
No, I am glad you didn't.
but I decided to piss my girlfriend off, and
you succeeded.
I succeeded.
Keep that.
It was
serious.
130 degrees outside.
1 to
and
10. How mad?
Her? I wouldn't say mad. As far as being
Upset.
mad, we're gonna say
Disappointed.
6 to 7. Disappointed. That was like a 12.
Solid 12. Gotcha.
But I told her right before I left. That was the most high fives and waves I've got for my daughter in months. So it's got to stay.
It's for the kids.
It is.
That's partially the reason.
Ration.
The reason I got rid of the locks of love back here. They grab a hold of them and I would be like, oh, and then she'd grab my beard just to bring me back into her. And it was,
Where you going?
yeah, it was a special moment every time.
Do the
but-
more.
But
I love you, Daddy.
yeah, got rid of the old bullet, the old baby mullet.
Yeah, it's hard for me to keep all this contained.
It's all right, Patches. One of these days you'll be able
I
to do
feel
it.
you. If I colored it, it might show up a little better. This is really blonde.
It shows up.
It's blonde.
Don't count yourself out.
I
I'll
think
count
I shaved
myself
more
out.
peach fuzz off my face than what you guys have together.
You were right.
Whatever. I bet you got a carpet over that shirt.
I did.
It's not a
This guy's
shag
got a
carpet.
cardigan on.
Sweater on down
It's
here.
It's like
impressive.
1970.
Partially
I
the
didn't
reason-
get that. I didn't get that. Must have came from Mom.
Partially the reason we're in here.
Sorry,
is 'cause
Tyler's mom.
Yeah,
It's
she knows I didn't mean anything. by it.
35 degrees outside. It's that fucking left nut on the right leg kind of weather out there.
It's very
It is
unfortunate.
hot.
Yeah. Smack the sack.
Yeah, it's so hot Sean even stretched his bag over to the other side of the table. Well, going back to how we started off, the Starlink thing, do you guys believe there's more out there?
Absolutely.
I do, but I don't. I don't think it's what we envision.
I can agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I seen a video from Tucker Carlson. He was talking about how they're real, UFOs are real, and he said that everything that the U.S. government knows about them, they actually come from underwater.
Well, that's the biggest thing is like any footage that they have of these UAPs or whatever, is they're coming up from the ocean, and it's like that kind of makes sense because like the ocean is like so undiscovered.
Yeah.
He said
don't know
they
shit
move
about it.
at like
Oh, it's-
hundreds of knots. I can't remember what the exact measurement was, but underwater, like
Yeah.
they've got footage of them underwater going hundreds of knots an
Believe
hour.
that.
Which, I mean, you know what it's like to try and hit somebody underwater.
Well, you got to think how.
So that's
The resistance is unreal.
that's
Mhm.
all-
and you got to think
The
how
fucking
deep
nail.
the ocean is and how we have not went down that far.
Oh,
The
right.
depths of the oceans
Yeah.
are-
Fuck.
Yeah.
Look how hard it was to find that
Hey.
submarine down there. And it's
that's
like,
what happened with the submarine.
you know, I mean, it's a rabbit.
New conspiracy, huh?
Oh.
Talk about a rabbit hole, you just unlocked one, buddy.
Yeah.
You just dug one.
It can't
We're
be.
all just gonna vanish soon, I think.
It can't be
Sometimes I
the
wonder.
GameCube controller they were using to hide it.
Here, let me put my head side. Sometimes I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that a meme? At some point, the guy was like, I don't know.
It was a meme, but it came from Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, that's where. Yeah, that's where I was
Sergio something. I can't remember his last name.
probably sitting in his $1 billion. Anyway,
That'll be us
Yeah,
in just
I-
a month or two.
Oh yeah.
you know, we're not doing this for monetary gain. At least I'm not. I'm just doing it for fun.
Y'all are in for it. No, I'm just kidding.
I've already quit my job.
Yeah.
We gotta
I'm
go
just-
somewhere.
This guy's really banking.
I just told Danielle today that I quit my job.
Crawford County fund us. No, I'm kidding.
Well, speaking of Crawford County funness, what about local crackheads?
Oh.
Any happenings with that?
I know one person well, I can't say one person at this table because we've all had our run-ins, but one person at this table has had the
Yeah.
most incredible experience that you could have.
I mean,
I wouldn't say it was incredible. I mean, the
I beg to
It's an incredible story now.
The story
For
is
you,
incredible.
on the other
But
hand.
the happenings of what actually happened was not that. It was
Let's-
strange to say the least.
So, I mean,
Something about a meat rocket in the stink pocket rubbing on your front windshield.
or be taking it all the way to town.
Tap that ball sack for me.
A little
Smack
stop.
sack! Dude, we gotta put that in. We gotta keep that now.
Gotta keep-
Oh, we just gotta smack a sack every. Alright.
I like it.
Alright, so I know these guys know the story. I know the story the greatest other than you. But I mean, let's head to toe this. Let's go back to 2012.
What a year.
Wasn't this
The
2012?
world was
I
ending.
think.
Oh,
I think that's when-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 2012, 13 area.
Let's go back to 2012
Because I had graduated.
as you were on your way home late at night.
Yeah, it's it's wild to bring it back up again. I may be telling thousands of people. I don't know whoever's watching this. Yeah, so I'm on Radio Station Road, heading north. Just cruising around, listening to music, heading home. And I get to the four-way, and as I'm probably 100 yards out from the stop sign, and I see. Not really sure at the time what it was, I'm in a 90s pickup, it's got little halogen bulbs in it, you can't see dick out 50 feet from it.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to make this clear. They say a man rode on the hood of a vehicle for 4 miles, or a hood of a car for 4 miles. This was a 91 Silverado long bed, happened to be Cody's grandpa's old truck, with a topper on it, 9 inches of lift and 35-inch tires. This was not a Toyota Corolla by any means.
Love Toyota.
Alright, anyways, back at it.
Anyway, like I said, I'm pulling up the stop sign, I see something in the yard of whoever's living there, and they kind of a jog to the ditch. I'm looking at them, I'm like, what is this? Whatever. I get closer, I'm like, kind of realize like they're naked. Like this is really strange. Okay, first of all, I'm far enough away I can't tell if it's a chick or a guy, whatever. If it's a woman, there's a lot of hair here that whatever. So I'm getting closer and I'm like, oh fuck, like they're in trouble. Like did they just get mugged? Something come after them? I don't know. I roll the window down. Immediately regretted that decision. Right off the bat, as soon as I hit the window switch. And I mean, I don't know who all's familiar with the old Chevys, but the switches weren't illuminated. You couldn't, if you were trying to find them.
Not only that, but they weren't mounted on
they're on the
door
side, down by
arm.
your leg. Like,
They're mounted on the side of the door panel in a line.
Fuck you, Chevy.
So it's not easy to find when you're in panic
kind of
mode.
irrelevant, but whenever you really think about it,
Lawsuit.
it makes
We could get some money out of this.
yeah, kind of irrelevant, but makes sense whenever you hear the story. So, like I said, I roll the window down and I look out and I'm like, dude, what's going on? I realize it's a guy. And he said, they're chasing me. And I'm like, well, I think, get in, who's chasing you? He goes, the coyotes are chasing me. He goes, I stripped my clothes off. He said, so I could be quieter. He goes, let me in, I need a ride. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. So I reach over, boop, hit that window up button. I don't know how I hit it. I don't know how I found it. My finger went to it like it was connected. Crazy thing. Anyway.
Not only that, but those windows rolled up at the fucking speed of smell.
Oh yeah,
They were
yeah, for
terrible.
sure. Yeah. I could throw a baseball and hit the
You almost
wall
wish you had the
3
roll.
times. Yeah.
I'd rather
I
crank
could've.
them bitches.
I could have reached over and cranked it up faster.
Oh yeah.
So somehow, I don't remember if the doors were locked, I hit the lock button too, whatever the story may be, but anyway, he manages to jump up on the step and he's leaning in, and I'm thinking, you need to get the hell out. Like this, I'm not cool with this, get out. I'm getting the window rolled up. He puts his feet up on the ledge of the window. Somehow the window's still going up. Like, I don't know if his feet are just like, he's clinging to the side like fucking Spider-Man or what, but I
They're
get
all
the
tacky
window,
from that summer heat. They're fucking stuck right on there.
I get the window up. And next thing I know, like I'm looking over, he's got his foot on the mirror and he's on the roof. Like he pulls himself up and he's looking down at me through the windshield, looking at me. And I'm like, what the like, I'm just in shock at this point. I'm pissed.
How many
I'm-
minutes is going on?
So I would say
In
the
the
whole
duration.
time from me seeing him to him getting on the roof of the truck, no more than 5 minutes.
That's a
Like
lot to process.
4 or 5 minutes. It
There's
was
a lot
crazy.
of processing going on.
Oh yeah, for real. It not only like it's hard, like you said, hard to process. Like I was like, what's going on? What the hell's going on? What do
Why
I
is
do?
this man's bag out?
Why is he naked and why are the coyotes chasing him? I don't know. These are, He gets on the roof, he's looking at me, he's telling me, he's smacking the roof, go, go, go. I'm like, okay, like, where the fuck am I gonna go? Like, I don't want to, like, first of all, I think, don't want to take him to the house. What's he gonna do?
Our house that we lived at was probably half mile away from
down the
there.
road, yeah. I don't want to take him to the house, but I do want to take him to the house. You know, I have, you know, we have guns, we got baseball bats, you know, whatever, something. So I head towards the house, and in the process, I pull my phone up, and I'm thinking, I need to call somebody. Like, what do I call? Well, I go to my phone list, and I'm sure Mom had called me. What do you do, and when are you gonna be home? Whatever. I just click on it. I tell her the story of what's going on. She goes, "Are you fucking serious?" And I can hear the panic in the background. Like, she knows I'm not making this up. Like, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'm good at storytelling, but
it was kind of funny because I knew what his truck sounded like coming down the road. And I thought it was him. And I thought he was coming home. And I just heard it zip by. And I was like, well, it's awful late if that wasn't him, you know, that he didn't just pull in. But and then I hear my mom screaming on the phone, "What the? What?" And I go in there and, you know, I'm like, "Mom, what's going on?" Like, you know, because Tyler's had a lot of, I wouldn't say issues in the past, but he's gotten hurt a lot whenever he was younger. So normally anytime Mom's on the phone in a panic, it's something to do with him. So I had no clue what was going on. But, so yeah.
anyway, so yeah, I'm on the phone. I get her on the phone. I tell her what's going on, and she says, "Well, hold on. I'm gonna grab the home phone. You know, this is we got a landline. This is a long time ago for all you that don't understand what that is. It's connected to the house."
I was running into the living room close to that point because she's got a phone in this hand and a phone in this hand, and she's fucking just back and forth.
What was your dad doing at this point?
He was at work. He worked
was
nights
still
there.
working nights at that point.
Yeah. So, because my mom calls after all this goes on, and she calls in.
There's
and-
another story behind that we can tell afterwards.
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
It's a good story
Go
too. Yeah, on the phone, she says, "Hold on a minute, I'm gonna call 911." I hear her on the phone. She's saying, "Hey, my son said that he's on. It would have been 1200th, and there's a naked man on the roof of his truck right now, and he says he doesn't know what to do." And I originally said, "Well, let's see how fast I can get going. And I'm gonna hit the brakes. I'm gonna chop these bitches up, and we're gonna see him slide." And then I thought, well, you know, am I gonna get in trouble if I run this guy over?
Lots of process.
Fuck, I'm 18, 19 years old.
Yeah,
I'm like,
lots
I don't
of
know the laws behind any of this. You know, I don't know what'll happen. So anyway, a lot's going through my head. I'm driving. I'm getting towards the end of 1200, going on to 800 north. 800 north. And I hear her say, "Head towards town. They will meet you." And I'm thinking, okay. So I'm headed back north. I head back to, I believe it's 1250th, head back east, and then back into town on Rural Route 2. And I mean, I can't believe this truck isn't upside down in the field somewhere because of how fast I'm driving. I'm in the other lane, like cutting the corners, you know, it was crazy. I get headed back towards into town. They say, "We've got units en route. Get to Main Street," I believe is what they said. I'm like, all right, I'll go to Main Street. I cut down the hospital road, which I can't remember what the road that is. Anyway, it takes you down T on Main Street.
Try my Williams.
By Williams. And I'm headed towards the police station. And before I even get turned completely, I see lights. And I'm thinking, ooh, here we go. Like, this is going to be intense. I'm going to be on an episode of Cops. Like,
Let me start my
Bad
GoPro.
boys,
yeah,
bad
no
boys.
shit.
What you
Yeah.
gonna do?
I have my whole,
His ass.
I got my whole flip phone that takes like horrible pictures.
Yeah.
No video, probably. Anyway, I'm cruising, and I make it to Red and White car wash. It's on the south side, the old pole barn. And keep in mind, I've got my hazards on, and I'm running probably, I would say, close to 55 miles an hour. Because at this time, there's not many people out on Main Street, and I'm booking it. Like,
Right.
Blowing
here we go.
lights, stop
Oh yeah,
signs,
I'm
everything.
blown. And that's what I believe that my mom had said. They said, "Don't stop, just go. Like, just keep going, keep heading towards the department until you meet them." I'm like, all right. I didn't think that at the time. I wasn't as calm and collected, but I get towards the car wash, and I mean, I bet there's 4 or 5 squad cars. Generally, you only see that on normal routine traffic stops. I've never seen so many at one time, and they're all headed towards me, and they're in every lane. They're in the turn lane, they're in the westbound lane, eastbound lane, coming towards me. I get the truck stop, and their guns drawn. Boom, 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 guns are out. I'm like, oh shit, this guy's gonna get lit the fuck up. Like, this is gonna be nuts.
I hope the ring's good.
Yeah.
Oh God!
So I'm still on the phone with mom, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go. They're here, or I met up with them, whatever. I said, I throw the phone down, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, do I need to put my hands up? Like, I don't know, I'm not giving this guy a free ride.
They go after you.
It's the crackhead, not me.
This guy.
This guy's just trying to get his truck back.
It's not me. He was sleeping. I took it. But, so yeah, he gets. They tell him get down, show me your hands, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, okay, there's a bunch of houses right here, long driveway. He's gone, like he's running. Just how he was acting to begin with made me think that. I assumed. We all know what assuming does. He slides down, sack, dick print, all the way down the rear glass, and I'm just looking over like, well, I looked over at that time.
Yeah.
And I actually went through my head.
I just looked into the window of your soul.
Yeah, I just
You
saw
said you were
every
crazy,
crazy,
but now I
buddy.
can see your nuts.
And yeah, no kidding though. He ran around far enough with his hands up, and I mean, he just flat on the ground. He put his hand behind his back. It was it. Like, and it's funny. Well, a buddy of ours, his dad was a cop for years, and he was the first one to come talk to me. And he just looked at me dead in the eyes and goes, "What the fuck?" I was like, "You're telling me?" I said, "You should have been there." And he just started laughing, and it was so funny because it reminded me of our buddy. That's exactly what he. What the fuck? And just started laughing. No big deal.
So did they figure out what kind of drugs he was on?
Yes, he was on bath salts. Yeah. He was
And
doing
that
bath
was-
salts. That was the first.
I think it was the 3rd case nationwide. I
Yeah.
think, I could be wrong on that, but I think it was
One
the
of the-
3rd case nationwide that was like,
top 5 for sure.
yeah.
'Cause
But
people
that
were
was
acting
definitely
like
the
zombies.
first one around
Yeah.
here.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
so
Probably the only one around here, really.
one of you told me what this guy was initially doing before this whole incident in a tree somewhere.
Yeah, so the house that Tyler picked him up at, there was a tree stand in that guy's backyard because he would hunt the field that surrounded the house, and he sat up in that tree stand for hours. Now,
I didn't know that. This is news to me.
he shucked his clothes about probably 100 to 150 yards from where he seen
It was
Tyler.
just after the curve.
Yeah,
Coming onto our road.
and then he made it over to that house and he got up in the tree stand. That way he could see what was chasing him, and he was off the ground, was what his explanation was.
Well, I mean,
But he
Yodi
sat up
chased
there
me
for
the
a
other
couple
day.
hours, I guess. But to me, I can't imagine if I was, because the house sits probably 50 yards or so from the barn. And I can't imagine, say, I was just running out to the barn for something and there's some fucking naked dude hiring a kite sitting in my tree stand. Just see a sack dangling from the seat
I mean,
there.
what did you do? I mean,
Oh, I don't even know, man.
because like in his point, like I can't, and I'm sure a lot of police officers, people just that are in a high adrenaline situation, that's a lot to process. And
Yeah.
it's like, are you making the right decision?
Yeah, that's-
because we live in a time where
yeah.
he was thinking, am I going to get in trouble by letting this guy
Yeah,
slide down
and
the
that's
road?
that's the
Yeah.
sad
Yeah.
part about this, because Tyler was afraid for his life,
I
and
mean, this guy could kill him.
exactly,
Yeah.
I mean,
just trying to be a good guy, and that's another topic that you could talk about too. You're trying to be a good person, and that's why it's so hard
Yeah.
nowadays. If you see a car on the side of the road, you hear about people luring people in that way. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you got your hazards on the side of the road. I don't mean to be a dick, but it's like, I don't trust you.
Sorry.
I've got a kid in the car
We'll
with
say
me,
that
and
changed things a lot for me. I just wanted to help out, and
what a crazy story.
But yeah, so I mean, is there more to the story other than you talking to our buddy's dad about it, or is that pretty much it?
I think he had said, we'll catch up with you once we get him under control, and we'll, if you want to press charges or whatever. And I'm thinking, at the time,
If
like I
there's
said,
damage
I'm
to the
18 or
truck or
19
something, it
years
might be
old, and
different,
I'm
but-
like 17, whatever. And
I just saw a grown man's asshole.
Yeah,
yeah.
So the last thing on my mind
window, like
is pressing charges.
I'm
Wish
like,
you had a
he didn't try to hurt me.
Dash cam.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you
Oh
imagine?
my God. Yeah.
That would have been a heck of a video. But yeah, I was young, and I was in good shape. I'm thinking, if this guy really wants to get in here, like, I'm gonna try him. Like,
Right.
he may not, I could beat him with a bat, and he could just come at me still. He may not even care, but it's like, I'll try it.
When you're a bigger, you're
Yeah, and I was in
guy,
good
so,
shape at
yeah.
the time, but yeah, it was still one of those things. It was just so many things going through your mind. Do I stop? Do I try to fight him? Do I let him go? Do I run him over? Whatever. So that's in what ended up happening. I just drove him to town, gave him a ride to the jail. He got there a little faster than he was expected.
So before, I think we should take a breaking point. What's this guy up to now? Without using names or anything.
Well, I'd heard he got in trouble, maybe months after that, and went to jail. I don't
Shower
know.
salts.
Yeah. Shower salt. Don't
Shower
drop-
salts.
Don't drop the soap, big homie.
He tossing bath bombs in his mouth with jawbreakers.
I honestly don't know. I had heard jail. I'd heard, his name floating around. I'd heard prison possibly, but it's hard to tell.
The sad thing is like waking up after having an occurrence like that, he probably just kept
Oh.
on the same
Oh yeah.
routine. I mean, you can't wake up from that and think. Some people do. Some people wake up and they're like,
Have a
okay,
realization.
like this,
Yeah,
I'm getting
sure.
clean. But that guy, he could very well have been like, I'm
Well,
getting
I-
so fucked up tonight
so
that I can't remember that.
This is the guy
Yeah.
that they believe committed the murder. It's been a few years back. That was on Route 1.
I believe it was just
I
north
remember
of
that.
Flat Rock. The old
They,
modular trailer.
they're, he's the only one that
That
they
old
have
modular
enough
trailer that
evidence
sits
for.
off
But
of
It sits on the
yeah,
east
it's got
side
a
of
fence in
Route
front of it.
Up off the hill a little ways.
I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah,
They,
same guy.
they said that he was the only one they had enough evidence for, but they could never try him because they did not have enough
Yeah.
to try him.
Yeah.
But he was the
Some, but not
prime suspect.
Which is wild to think about. It's like, okay, well, if this
Yeah,
guy actually did this, it's like, maybe I made the right move.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He may have keistered a shank.
Yeah, it's hard telling.
Well, when they're that far out of out of their mind on
Yeah.
bath salts or any
Sure.
kind of drug, I mean, it's a sketchy game.
I'm
of
glad
play.
that phase is over.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my mom's side of the story, she calls the cops and everything, and she gets off the phone and she tells me, like, your brother had a run-in with some random dude he believes is high or drunk or something. She's like, but the cops have the guy now. She said, I don't know what to do. And of course, she's standing there in a nightgown with two phones in her hand, like,
Yeah.
she
hasn't been
the
talking to
fuck out.
anyone for at least 10 minutes, and she's
Yeah. So,
I couldn't imagine being a parent trying
my
to talk
God.
your kid through that.
I'm not
Can you
having
imagine
kids.
getting? I'm sorry. Can you imagine getting a phone call at? I bet it was 11:30. It was late,
yeah.
and just
Well,
like
that's the same as like when you cut your finger off. I mean,
yeah, that's a different
You
story.
did what?
Well, and just remember, Bob, or I'm sorry, your dad is just sitting there, just
He's on break, just kicking his feet,
Yeah,
eating a sandwich,
so-
not know what the hell's
I
going on.
have no idea of any of this.
It would have
No
been
idea.
funny if he went past the because everybody on break line.
Oh yeah, you know how we are.
Tyler with a naked guy on his truck?
Oh yeah, well
Nah.
keep in mind
He's
he's
out
doing
of-
about 60 miles an hour. And had I been on the west side of town coming in that way, I probably would have been
Yeah.
going every bit of that.
Yeah.
what an amazing story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, mom, she got through all that, and then she said, "I've got to call your dad just in case anything else happens."
Yeah.
So
I
she
bet his
calls
blood
him
pressure-
and.
his face even got red.
So it's funny because
Redder than mine right now.
I hear from mom's side of the phone, but everybody at work said your dad answered radio, and they said, "Yeah, you gotta. Can you call us at 324?" So he goes over and he calls. He had his back to everybody, and he's sitting there kind of shaking his head. He hangs up the phone and just stood there and dropped his head and walks back to the table and sits down. And everybody's like, "Is everything okay?" Dad's like, "Well, I don't even know." Tyler apparently just had a guy jump on the roof of his truck, butt ass naked, and the cops arrested him, and he's like, "I don't even know."
Well, you got it.
Yeah.
Well, you know our dad too. You know, he said, "Save me." You know, just sitting there processing all of it all at once.
What's the cafeteria having?
Yeah. Bolognese.
Then somebody
Yeah.
that we work with, they heard that on XM or something.
He had said him and his wife were on vacation. You know, going to a concert. I don't know, and they were listening to an XM channel on their trip, and just so happened a station out of New York, I believe, is where it was, had mentioned Naked Hood Surfer and mentioned Robinson, Illinois. They said they both kind of looked at each other and was like, we just hear that. So they went on telling the story about it, and it was, summed up in a shorter version of what had happened. And I just thought it was completely wild that something that happened to little me in Potomville, USA, is on an XM station out of New York, and they're not even in town, has no idea what's going on, and they hear it, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
Come to find out, it was someone my dad worked with, And I'm sure.
Yeah, our family's had some run-ins with the local crackheads.
Got quite a few.
There was one night I was getting ready for work, and I worked night shift at the time, which was 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I got ready for work, and I was standing there talking to mom and dad, and the doorbell rang. And it kind of caught me off guard because nobody ever rings our doorbell that's coming over in the first place, but it was also 9:30. So I'm like,
I know what you're talking about now.
I'm like, what the hell was that? So I stood there for a second, and I realized my dad has this motion detection light above our shop door. That way, whenever you're going in and out of it, it'll kick on. You can see to get in and out of the door.
It doesn't stay
Anyways,
on very long either.
yeah, it's only a few
10
seconds, but
maybe.
it was kicked on, and I was like, and I asked mom, I'm like, was that the doorbell? And she's like, yeah. So I opened the door, and there's a scrawny dude standing there, hair all shaved, and just fucking staring at me. I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, well, me and my girlfriend got into a little spat, and I got hit by a fucking car, and I was wondering if you had a phone. And right before I went off on this, old Treese got triggered back there from Tyler's basketball incident.
Their mom.
Yeah. She come,
Little Harold.
yeah, throw in little Harold. My grandpa's name was Harold, and we always referred to
He's
her.
like a stick of
No.
fucking dynamite.
Real quick, was this after the incident?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
this has been 2 years ago.
Yeah. So she's already
Probably
having
10
like
years.
a PTSD moment.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Holy
I'm sure.
shit.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Especially,
Fortunate Son's playing in the background.
Oh
It
yeah,
just-
for sure.
it ain't
World
good.
War II.
so she
Bells are ringing.
she hops up and oh yeah, little Harold. We refer to her as Little Harold because she's just like my grandpa, who was a fucking stick of dynamite. Anyways,
don't touch it.
yeah,
Leave it
you
alone.
don't want any part of that shit. But here she comes in her nightgown,
Those
9:30 at
ready.
night. Yeah. But anyways, she comes up and she says, "What the fuck are you wanting?"
Hey, you need
Yeah. No hesitation whatsoever either.
He said, "Well, I got hit by a car," and she said, "Well, I find that fucking hard to believe." He's like, "Well, I was just wondering if you maybe had a phone I could use," and she said, "No, get the fuck off my porch." And he just stood there, and she said, "I don't need none of your shit. I'm tired of you fucking people coming around here. She's like, this is my baby right here, and I fucking don't want you to have any part of him."
Can I
And I was
ask you
like,
again, where's your dead Bob at?
He's sitting on the fucking couch.
Yeah,
He was sitting there with the
asleep.
laptop on his lap, and he's just like leaning over. And,
So he knows better than you,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You don't get her.
Let her go.
Let her go.
So
He's just leaning across going, that poor son of a bitch.
yeah,
Like one chip. Once you start it, you
He's
don't
probably
touch it.
What other crackhead did this to you?
so he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'll just get out of here." And she said, "You're goddamn right, you will." So he wanders off the porch, and we closed the door. And I just looked at her. I'm like, I was fine. And she said, "Well, that incident with your brothers got me all worked up." And she said, "You're my baby. I'm gonna fucking protect you."
You're a
And I was
grown ass
like,
man. She still sees you standing there with a teddy bear and a blanket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mama
exactly.
bear come out. So listen here.
But
Now you do it.
Some people don't have that, so it's like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's like, that's awesome.
On one hand, you're like, Mom, I'm a big boy. Like I can handle it. But on the other hand, it's like,
Get him, Mama,
get him.
yeah. Of course, our garage door was unlocked. I always locked it on my way to work. So he gets off the porch, wanders off, and I watched him walk down the driveway. So I let a few minutes go by because I didn't want to be a part of anything. I didn't want his situation happening
Sure.
to me, kind of thing.
Well,
So
he's
I
right.
sat there for a little while, and I'm like, well, I don't see him anymore. And I said, I'm gonna go to work. And Mom's like, well, I'm coming outside with you. I'm like, no, you're gonna sit your ass down on that couch and lock this fucking
Again,
door
what is
behind
Bob doing?
you." Sitting
I
there,
want
he's
to
chilling.
keep Bob in on this. I want to know what he's doing.
So I got a funny part to tie into this. You guys haven't heard this story, so this is gonna be fucking hilarious when I key off on this one. But so I go into the garage and I flipped all the lights on, and I closed the door and locked it behind me. And I'm just kind of looking around.
You and me, 3 minutes.
Yeah, I sat there for a minute and I'm
3
like,
minutes.
"Hey, motherfucker!" And I didn't see anything, so I'm like, "Well,
We're in the clear.
we're good." So I flipped the lights off and got my truck, and I started to leave, and I'm like, I ought to pan the backyard. And like, I turned all my lights on, I rolled the windows down, and was looking down the road, because I'm like, it's only been 10 minutes, he's walking, supposedly got hit by a car, couldn't have gone too far. So I cruised down the road a little bit.
He pops up in the back seat. I ain't back there.
Yeah,
Who you
no
looking
shit.
for?
I didn't even fucking
Let's
think of that,
get
'cause,
Let's get him.
you know,
It's a bag of Lay's bath salts.
so I wasn't even thinking about that because all the vehicles were unlocked in
Sure.
the garage. Yeah, shit, I didn't think about that. Anyways, so
Too late now.
yeah,
You survived.
here's what it is. Yeah, I'm talking about it. So here we go. But so I pulled in. There's a field entrance right by the edge of the yard, and I pulled into there, shined all the lights in the backyard. I'm like, well, I don't see anything, so I'm like, that's a good sign. So I get to work, and I'm walking in, and I texted Mom. I said, hey, just if you need anything, if something ends up happening, let me know. I'll come home. Instantly, boom, replies, and she said, he's back, cops are on the way. I'm like, that's all she tells me. I'm like, fuck, okay. So I'm like, well, keep me in the loop. So I kept my phone on me all night, and I come home the next morning. I didn't have any more texts, and I got
Either
home.
everything's good or the family's slaughtered.
Yeah, I got home the next morning, and of course, Mom's sitting in the rocking chair already. And I get in there, and I said,
Icing your nipples from whooping someone's ass before.
Polishing the brass in it.
yeah, it's fucking,
12 gauge slung out across the table, cleaning that bad
It's
boy.
10 after 6 in the morning. She's just sitting there, rocking away. I come in and I'm like, so what the fuck happened after I left? And she said, she said, your dad and I went outside and we had flashlights and we were looking around, and she said that we were getting ready to go back inside, and the dude runs up behind Dad and he's like, hey, I'm sorry. And Dad turns around and he's like, God, dude, you scared the fuck out of me. And I'm like, if that was me, I'd have knocked that motherfucker out cold. I'm like, you didn't take a gun with you outside or anything? And they're like, no. But if that was me, he'd have been fucking.
Why would that
sawing
guy
logs.
do that?
Yeah.
Why would that guy run
Yeah,
up?
at this point, it's, you know, probably
amazing.
9:45. It's pitch black outside.
Again, common sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
runs up behind him.
But drugs don't fucking.
Don't want us
But
to
knowing
die.
how your guys' dad is, like, I wouldn't expect any other
yeah.
reaction.
Yeah. He would have said that had he had a gun. He'd have said that and then shot him. Like,
Yeah.
He scared the shit out of me.
It's like Family Guy with Meg. She fucking talks. She's like, "Hey, Dad." He hits her right back. You scared me. Sorry, Meg.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's like, "Jesus Christ, dude, you scared the shit out of me." And my mom, she's like, "Get the fuck over here. You sit down on this goddamn porch right now." So she sits him down in a chair that your dad made, ironically. You got a lot of ties here.
There's a lot of ties.
There's gonna be a whole lot of stories that Dad's been involved in without knowing.
Didn't have a clue.
Just so he sees it.
Hopefully
Loves
he'll
it,
watch this.
So anyways,
Still a solid chair.
she sits him down in the chair, and she said, "What the fuck are you on?" And he's like, I'm not on anything. And she said, "Bullshit. I just want to know what you're on and what the hell's going on." And he sat there for a minute, and she said, "First off, I'm going to call the cops. And you're going to sit here until they get here."
Keep in mind, I've had this told to me several times growing up. You're gonna fucking sit here.
That is like the mom.
seriously?
Yeah.
That's like I've already put 2 kids through this shit. Like,
Yeah. Mind
You
you,
don't
my
fucking
mom's
scare me, big boy.
Yeah. Mind you, my mom's 5'2", so
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whenever you got a 5'2" lady pointing her fucking finger in your face, you sit the fuck down.
Quick update. What's Bob doing?
Really don't know at this point. I didn't hear that side.
He's
All
probably,
I-
he's probably getting the same
Yeah.
fucking tongue
He's
lash.
probably sitting down. He's probably sitting down next to him.
He's got a brown paper bag from him scaring the fuck out of him, you know?
I bet he's got my zipper and I got piss all over myself.
Richard, you're a fucking riot. So anyways, so at this point, at this time, COVID's going on. So she calls the police department. I've got somebody that's on something. They're at my house and they will not leave. And they're like,
Poor
do you?
crackhead goes, "You won't let me leave."
I'm not on anything.
I'm not doing anything wrong. So
Wrong.
she's like, he says that he got hit by a car. He doesn't act like it, but I don't know if you want to send an ambulance or what. So they're like, "Do you have COVID?" And she's like, "Are you fucking serious? Like, I got somebody high on something here on my property that will not leave, and you're worried about COVID." So anyways,
Typical mom.
waiting on the cops to show up, she's like, "So what are you on?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll confess. I smoked a little weed earlier." And he just sat there, and she's like, "Are you sure that's everything?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, What is going on? Why are you here?" And he's like, "Well, me and my girlfriend got into an argument, and I jumped out of the truck, and whenever I jumped out, she ran me over." And
I didn't
she's
know about
like-
all this.
she's like, "What the fuck?" Like, she's like, "Are you hurt?" And he's like, "Well, not really." He's like, "My knee's kind of bothering me, but I just got hit by a car." And she's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." You know? She's like, "So, is there anything else I should know about you? Do you have any guns on you or anything like that?" And he's like, "No, I don't have any guns." She's like, I don't understand why she hit you with the truck." And he's like, "Well, we got in an argument, and I just happened to get hit on my way out, and now she's looking for me." And she's like, "Where did this happen?" He's like, "I really don't know." He's like, "I just walked through the field to get here." Turns out it happened a mile-ish from the house. But cops show up, and instantly, as soon as they show up, they're like, "Do you have any weapons on you, any guns, anything like that?" And he's like, "Well, I've got a knife." And my mom was like, "Oh, fuck." Like, ask about the knife.
I asked about the guns. I didn't ask about the knife.
Yeah. But anyways, they're like, "Are you hurt?" You know, going over everything. And he's like, "Oh, my neck's kind of bothering me." And she's like, "You didn't fucking say anything about that before. Like, what's your deal?" So I don't know if Treese just, you know, wrote everything down that she was interrogating and just giving the cops, or, you know, I don't.
Just did.
They showed up. They showed up and she said, "You don't need to question him.
Yeah.
Put him in cuffs. I got
Yeah,
him.
I got
this. You
She
get him
really
on
said
out of
something
here."
like that.
Probably.
Yeah,
it's
that's
hard to
awesome.
tell.
Oh, sure.
But
That's awesome.
yeah, so they take him out
No
there,
fear.
and
No fear. It's
they
amazing.
they asked for a statement. She kind of told them everything. She said, "I already questioned him and whatnot." She's like, "Obviously, you guys are probably gonna question him still," but she said, "I don't know what happened. I just know he got hit by a vehicle." And they're like, "Well, turns out we've actually been looking for him." So I guess they were in an argument, and his girlfriend had a warrant or something like that, and they were trying to get out of town, and they thought they seen a cop, so they turned around to drive the opposite direction in case the cop decided to come back, and I don't know. They got an argument while that was happening, and he hopped out because he didn't want to be a part of it. But yeah,
Crazy.
he got arrested, and he
Small
got.
town USA.
I don't know if he got charged for anything, because I mean, we weren't pressing charges or anything. Mom just wanted him to get the fuck out of there. And a day or two later, a county cop showed up, and he's like, I have a paper. I just want you to fill it out. If you want to press charges or whatever, fill this out, give it to me. I'll turn it in." She's like, "No, I don't really need to. I don't feel that there's any reason to press charges." She said, "Was there actually anything wrong with him? He kept talking about his knee." And he's like, "No, yeah, there was nothing wrong with his knee, but they gave him an x-ray and he actually had a broken neck." And we were like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, so our family and crackheads is fucking hand in hand, apparently.
I think we've packed a lot in this episode.
I agree.
What a collage of stories, and the fact that you two are blood brothers
Yeah.
is really.
It was wild.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's been crazier things happen, but the fact, you know, it's like I said, small
If-
town.
I think if the viewers
little-
knew, where
Yeah.
we lived, it's
Yeah.
like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Yeah, the population is, I don't even know, maybe 20,000 at this point. It's probably less than that. Really.
I
But
think it's
at the
around
point of his instance, it was, you know,
It was
probably 10
similar.
to 15-ish.
Your poor mom. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Trees
She's
has
had
been
so
through it
much
all.
stress on
She
her
probably
lately.
doesn't get
Jeez.
like homeless on the side of the road or nothing.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
I don't know. I feel sorry for the crackhead. I don't want that kind of ass chewing.
Yeah, guy's got a broken neck and she's just finger fucking his eye out.
Oh, shoot.
Hey.
Well, I mean, after those stories and stuff, I'm feeling pretty bristled up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this mustache proves I'm feeling bristled
I-
up.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Are you
This
feeling like
mustache
got
makes
me
me gristle.
You're feeling
Yeah, it got me grizzled up.
I'm there.
All right.
6 to noon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been the Bristled Up podcast.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to add in input, like we're in the early stages, so it's like
Yeah.
just comment and honestly, like let us know topics that you would like to talk about.
Or if there's anything that we have talked about that you want to know more of, or you have questions about, we're all for it. We randomly talk about certain things, and it spins off of one another, and we've just I brought the idea to see if they would be interested. And
It's been a blast.
Yeah, honestly,
it's
like-
honestly been a blast. Like to me, I don't care if we get 20 views. It's just been
yeah,
fun.
this is
Yeah.
If one of 20 of you wants to leave a comment on what you want to see, just leave a
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
So.
this will be the 4th official video. This will be the 4th actual video that we recorded. The first video we just were playing around trying to get the feel of things. But yeah, the last 2 videos, our audio wasn't the greatest. We had lighting issues on the very first one. The second one we got that kind of resolved, but we still got focus issues with us being outside. We've got a more permanent solution. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get to that, but for now, we're doing this, we're indoors, climate controlled-ish. That's a plus.
Feels pretty good.
Definitely.
Feels decent.
But,
Any suggestions on how we can make
Yeah.
this better?
Any improvements
know.
for you guys?
Yeah.
We'll definitely listen to 'em.
Constructive criticism.
Yes, without a doubt.
Don't be assholes.
Yeah.
Or me, I don't care.
Yeah, or do, yeah. That's what this podcast is about. I
Yeah,
don't care.
nobody cares.
Make me laugh.
Don't sweat off my back.
my name's Sean.
I'm Cody.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Caleb.
This is the Gristled Up Podcast.
Thanks for watching.